This is Gemini. This is I'm Telling You, episode number 10.
Louder.
It is February 15th at 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing this at 1:30.
That's we've done this a few times at 1:30.
Yeah, we got a bit of a late start, but like we were saying earlier, this was an ad hoc, last minute. Philly D's going through some stuff right now, and he just needs somebody to listen, or just somebody to be here. Maybe just
Probably a little bit of both.
just take up space.
I can say this because you had made the expression, I think, off mic, was that there are a few men in your life that seem to be depressed, and my instant response to that was, just because I'm not happy doesn't mean I'm depressed, right? So it's not that I'm depressed. I'm not walking around sad and mopey all day saying woe's me. I'm just in a place where I no longer feel that me being here is going to create more good. So I'm not happy with myself, and I've made peace with the fact that maybe I'm not happy because I've done my job and it's time to go. Like, I punched the clock, I put in my shift, and it's like, dude, I'm tired and ready to go to bed. Maybe it's time for me to go to bed.
I know you'd expressed to me, you had expressed to me before the Green Room episode we just finished, the segment in The Last Shaman, that there was a particular quote that really encompasses how you're feeling right now. That it's a desire to feel anything, which I can kind of understand, because that's the struggle that and why I agreed to do this in the first place, is that feeling of disconnect with everything else in the world.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I wanted to do this because, I felt the need to be heard. And you and I, the way we go back and forth, we always feel heard with one another, as well as we can be quite comical. So the joys that came from that, as well as knowing what usually comes out of our conversations, is the ability to learn more of ourselves. So this is pre-miking all of this stuff. You and I have always had that ability to express to one another, to hear one another, and allow each other to grow and be better.
And I personally have tried really hard over the years to work on my ability not to be judgmental, or, like we were just saying, actually, right before turning the mic on now, is that I'm one of those type of people that I want to fix everything, and I'm getting to the age now where I realize it's not my job to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to fix nobody. I'm working on my own shit.
Well, maybe my job is just to be here and listen.
Well, yeah, and that's what I think my expression to that idea was. Maybe this isn't how I feel. Maybe it's all the other energies from everyone else in this world that is feeling this, that my body has accepted this as its own idea. As well as maybe it's, I'm supposed to feel this way. The whole things happen for a reason, no coincidence. Maybe I'm supposed to feel this way for you, so that you can have peace in your past. I know I'm at a place where I want to be happy and filled with only peace and joy, and I'm not that right now, and I'm struggling very much with that, along with several other things that have been just kind of piling up. But that to me is the biggest pieces. So yeah, while I'm not depressed, I'm also not happy, which pretty much be the same as the other. But
and that's the weird thing to try and comprehend, because
well, that's why I like The Last
Is
Shaman.
is there anything that could happen that would change this feeling, or does it just kind of postpone it a little bit?
What postpone it?
Like anything, what you might consider a positive occurrence in your life, or an acquisition, or
Meditating, spending time with family and friends. Yeah, I can enjoy those moments and take happiness from them. But I honestly, I'm at a place where, with everything that's been going on, I feel more alone than anything. I literally spend most of my days by myself right now, and I have been for months. Where maybe I get to see my kid here and there, I get to see my partner here and there, I get to see you once or twice a week, and I just, out of these little moments that I have where I get an hour here, 2 hours there, most of my time is me alone. And I've expressed this to several people that I care very much for, that are in my life, that I'm not happy, I feel alone, and I don't know,
Well, and the thing that's really hard to comprehend if you've never been there before is that you could feel alone in a room full of people.
Yeah.
It really makes no difference where you are, who you're surrounded by.
Yeah.
And you could be at the funnest amusement park or the greatest place in the whole wide world, and it wouldn't make a difference.
Correct.
You just feel, I don't want to say nothing, but...
No, yeah.
Nothing.
I feel nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm not sad. I'm not happy. And I know I can be happy, and I know I don't want to be sad. So allowing myself to be sad is not going to happen, but me not being happy to others looks like I'm depressed, and it's like, I'm not depressed.
I'm just not really anything.
I'm not, and that was the thing with The Last Shaman. The main character, James, that it's about, he's basically trying to express to, in the one scene, the cameraman asks them, are you happy? And he's just like, am I happy? He's like, no, I'm fucking sick. He's like, I look at a beautiful woman, I feel nothing. I look at a sunset, I feel nothing. He's like, all I want to do is feel human. I want to be able to feel. And he doesn't even say, I want to feel happy. I just want to feel.
Just want to feel something.
Every time I see that part,
it just rocks you to the core. Yeah. I know that struck me.
It's
It's
the easiest way for me.
We all have to deal with that at some point, don't we?
I don't know, because
we all do.
I'm just starting to talk about it and put it out there.
You're not alone. You're certainly not alone.
Yeah, I'm certain that I'm not, but I don't know, because again, this is me finally saying something and asking for help. If anything, that's my current takeaway is I'm aware of my situation, and while I've asked the spirits, while I've prayed to God, while I've asked friends, I'm asking for help in every way that I can feasibly think, and even things that are scared the ever-living crap out of me, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a no, I still ask. I still hope. I still try. And somehow I'm still met with this opposition, this blockage, which some can say is from internal components. I can say that it's from timing, possibly. There's tons of different rationales as to why it is, but honestly, none of us know.
Well, and you can't rationalize. You really can't rationalize that side of you. That's these things go on uncontrollably sometimes. There's that's why I keep coming back to, for me, this was a very beneficial experience, being able to verbally express how I'm feeling, or just even something that interests me, which is basically what this started with. It's like goofy stuff that interests me or interests you, and stuff that we could talk about, and honestly stuff that we probably would have been talking about anyhow, and we just decided to turn on a mic.
Right, yeah, here we are, 10 episodes, I'm telling you, deep later.
Right?
Yeah, 9 episodes of...
And it seems to me like they're all good in their own way, but it seems to me like there's a pretty consistent improvement from one to the next. between our ability to communicate with each other, and it's already been said and put on the table there that there's been a lot of improvement from my side, being able to express myself, not just being more open, and letting these thoughts out into, but just being able to express myself loud enough to be heard on the mic and clearly. That there's been improvement, and this is exactly like I was telling you off mic, that one of the things I think is really going to help me, because in some ways maybe it already has, but like I was saying, there's a disconnect with me and my family too, because I don't necessarily feel that I see things the same way as everybody else does, that I experience them differently, and I should. I mean, that I'm an individual and I experience things the way I do. Nobody should expect that I experience them the way they do. That would be a ridiculous request or expectation at all, you know. But I do. I feel a disconnect, and sometimes that's due to the fact that I have a difficulty expressing myself when it becomes even the least bit emotional, to express myself without kind of losing myself in the statement and not being able to finish expressing myself, which I've probably already displayed in some way on the mic, where I kind of lose my train of thought because I get caught up in the moment. And
right.
These are some of the things I'm working through. You know, if that happens when you're writing on paper, you can always look back to the last line and go right back to where you were. I can't do that when I'm speaking. So it's like, this is
You have to be more aware of your...
Yeah. And your vernacular and your, you know, I don't want to say posture as much, but your ability to project even just a little bit, even though the mic's only like 3 inches from my nose. But
yeah, speak from your diaphragm.
Yes. Yeah. So, green room was a bit hectic. Not our usual. We kind of jumped right into things, and
yeah, it got real heavy real quick.
Yeah, it got heavy really quick, and I think it like we were saying, it was exactly what it needed to be.
Well, I mean, if we're going to say that we believe that everything happens for a reason, there's no such thing as a coincidence, then yeah.
It was exactly what it needed to be.
Well, just what is it, Morpheus in the Matrix? They're like, oh, this, you know, something's wrong. It didn't happen. He's like, no, everything is happening the way it's supposed to be. It's like, well, how do you know that? Well, because we're not dead. So if you're not dead, you still have work to do, basically.
I love that name, Morpheus. You know who Morpheus is, right?
Lawrence Fishburne.
That's the god of dreams.
Oh, right, yeah. I think you had said that before.
Yeah, Morpheus is the god of dreams.
But yeah, that's so under that premise. You know, if I wake up tomorrow or the next day or the day after, like any morning I wake up, it's because I was supposed to. You know, and whether or not me waking up has anything to do with whether or not I'm actually going to find happiness, then that I don't know.
I can't help it, and this is just me trying to be me and adding a little levity to the situation. Using it correctly this time. Thinking of the scene in Office Space, the very beginning.
It sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Where he's like, well, you know, every day is the worst day of my life. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's in the hypnosis. He's in the.
He's right about to get hypnotized.
The professional's sitting there and he's asking him like, you know, hey, what do you think? How do you feel? Like, what are you here for? And he's like,
this is the worst day of my life.
He's like, so every day you wake up is now going to be the worst day of your life. He's like, yeah. He's like, wow, that's really messed up. He's like, oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
But see, that's a statement of depression, I feel.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not depressed. My big thing is I'm not happy.
That would at least be something.
Yeah, but and again, the moments that I do find the joy is when I am spending time with the people that I love, and we're all enjoying one another. So
well, I mean, I can tell you, I get a lot just from being able to have this with you. Even if we never touch on these really difficult subjects, I mean, I appreciate being able to be here because, in a sense, like we've said before, this puts me on a ground with the people that I would look up to, as far as people that are willing to embrace something because it's greater than what the sum of its parts. You know, this is greater than you and I. This is greater than what we're expressing here is I think universal to humankind.
And so in my attempt to find my happiness was, so like, you know, you would ask me, you know, if you were my phone call, and it's like, you know, I asked others for help prior to, and they did what they could, and, you know, I'm very appreciative and grateful for that. The thing to me, you know, before I even expressed where I was at emotionally, I pretty much just, you know, jumped down your throat. Was like, we have to put this out. This needs to happen now. I'm tired of this. Like, we got to do this. And I think part of that is because I feel by us putting this out, instead of just getting it to the, you know, the 15 or 20 people that are listening right now, getting it to...
Which is impressive, because we started with 3.
I think so.
Including you and I.
Well, including you and I made it, yeah, I think
3
it made
additional,
it like 5 or something. But
so, yeah, this number, and this is news to me, too, that this number apparently keeps growing a little bit.
I told you about them.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's because now it's like, you know, this person's kid or that person's friend or, you know, whatever.
But yeah, you actually, you said that to me, and I could tell just from hearing the sound of your voice, your inflection, your tone, that something was wrong.
So that's why
and your expression was immediately followed by an emotional reaction from me, basically like, yeah, let's go, you know, publish. I mean, the whole point of us having a pseudonym in the first place was so that we could feel comfortable to express ourselves without feeling like our persona represented the conversation, because it really doesn't.
Correct, because this isn't really us speaking at this point in time. This is us in this construct with the energies, the conversations that are coming from it. Is, you know, what's the expression? It's you know, I'm not making the art's coming through me. So when we get into these conversations where we're micing ourselves, yeah, we're more of a conduit at this point of information than we are a personal expression of our internal ideas. Like
you said, I like your term, getting out of your own way.
Yeah.
That when I get to a point, and you can almost hear a build up when I'm now that everybody that's been listening has probably heard this from me a couple times, that I'll reach a point where there's a build up and then like a crescendo where I start getting almost angry at the microphone.
You project very aggressively.
And it just, you can feel it, you can hear it. Like when I listen to it again, I'm like, wow, I sound pissed.
I wouldn't say pissed.
There's an emotional content.
Correct. Because it's not always going to be excitement. You get to a level of excitement where you're finally feeling like you have a platform to be heard and express yourself, and you lean into it.
Yeah,
it's beautiful to watch.
Like a ramp up, like a yeah, and it is. It's like a slow burn, like a.
But yeah, so my
high octane.
Yeah. Well, that was my, I think, a bigger thing of not just reaching out to you because it's like, you know, I still need to talk more. I need to get this out more. You know, it was also an additional attempt to finally put these things out on a greater scale so that hopefully we start to see those people that, you know, are like, hey, this did help. This is coming back, and it's not just you and I anymore. So I'm hopeful that in doing that, having that reciprocation of this is helping, not even a thank you, just this is helping, I think would be something that would definitely bring me more happiness to my life with what I have going on, because then it's now a very internal component that's being, you know, validated or heard on a grand scale. And again, not to say thank you, but because it helps.
Well, I mean, I hate starting off. I always start off with, I mean. That's one of the things when you go back and read for you, like, oh man, I can't stay on this. But
I'm pretty sure I repeat a lot of the same phrases. I don't hear them all, and most people do. So it's all good.
You know, getting into this venue and being able to to express ourselves, I think has like we were saying, it's allowed us to open up more. You know, I was saying to you that it's been an outlet it's been a wonderful outlet to help me try and express myself more impeccably, because that's,
you know, always pause. People, I'm not interrupting him. He pauses, he looks at me to make sure that I say the word so he can say it correctly, and so that's not me telling him what it is. That's me reassuring him so he can.
And this is how we play off each other, because this is something, when I started telling him about my interest in certain spiritual matters, he came to me and he would go, oh, well, and this is what you do with friends. Like, you reflect back. You say, hey, oh, well, I found something similar. And for him, it was the 4 agreements. So that's one thing that's like, it's come up in conversation multitudinous times.
There's been a few conversations with him. Actually, I'm pretty sure the last I'm telling you, we were ending on more or less a discussion of the 4 agreements.
And no, I don't think we definitely didn't make light of the fact that the first one was no joke, and there's probably a reason that it was put there.
Oh no, it is absolutely expressed multiple times. It has
to be first,
because while it sounds the easiest, it is the most difficult. And again, being impeccable with your word goes back to, you have to be honest with yourself. If your words or your expressions, if your actions are going to be impeccable, they have to start from a honest, impeccable spot. It can't be like, oh, I'm going to bullshit myself and then put this out, and it's just going to be impeccable. That's not how that works.
I couldn't do that.
Nobody can, because that's not how that works.
No, but I mean, I couldn't even pretend to fake. I couldn't do it. You know, anybody that knows me, I'm a terrible liar. It's
Again, don't play poker, bro.
It's just not in my blood. I mean, not that I can't tell white lies. I mean, everybody can, but I mean, there's.
Yeah, but that's like trying to surprise your spouse or your kids or something. That's not a lie. That's suspense.
Well, or whatever, you know. Well, like white lies that don't necessarily affect anybody. Like, you don't need to know that. That's personal, whatever. But
again,
or lies of omission that really just aren't important.
But that goes back to being impeccable, where it's just like, instead of saying a white lie, you're just kind of like.
That's another thing.
I don't think that that's something I feel comfortable sharing with you, and so I'm not going to answer.
But lies of omission, depending on how you define that, you know, that's another thing that if you're trying to clean up that.
But I don't equate that to lying. I equate that to being dishonest or not forthcoming. So it's not
impeccable.
Well, it's definitely not impeccable.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all I was saying, is that would not apply. Well, that would not be acceptable as far as rule 1 is concerned, or agreement number 1.
Yeah, that does not facilitate that at all.
And I think this venue allows for practice, if you will.
Yeah, being impeccable, absolutely.
Because I'm not sitting here reading out of a textbook. I mean,
not this time.
No, not this time. I had to check. No, I'm not reading out of a textbook. None of this was planned ahead of time. And
this is very much impromptu.
Right.
But as you said, the thing that needed to be done.
Yeah, and sometimes this is the kind of shit you just can't plan. You know, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
I'm very much a scheduled, organized. I like knowing when, where, what. Not all of it. You know, I don't have to do all of it. I need enough that I can kind of plan my stuff around it so that I can get my things accomplished. You know, setting my goal, my list of goals, and then accomplishing them. I have I've written list upon list upon list. I mean, I've had partners, and we've had this discussion where, you know, we're running our companies and stuff. We're sitting here writing lists of things to get done just for today, and then lists for the week, and they never get touched. And it's not because we don't want to or we don't have the ability to. We got other fires to put out. We have other things that we have to deal with. Stuff always comes up. So no matter how much you plan, chaos ensues for a lot of stuff.
Life is what happens when you're busy making.
Yeah, and I'm very much the type where I like to have some scheduled consistency, because without it, I kind of come off the tracks, which is where I'm at now. Is I'm not having a decent enough consistent schedule, and that's taking my happiness away too. So I mean, there's not one thing that's going to fix me.
Yeah, that's what I'm really having difficulty trying to determine, because not that you, and this is the weird thing about it psychologically, is that as a people, generally speaking, we define not only ourselves but the things around us by what they accomplish. You know, what do they do? You know, you describe your car by what it allows you to do. It allows you to get from one place to another. It allows you to carry people with you or goods home with you so you could go shop. You know, you look at it for its value in that term. And if it didn't provide all those things, it wouldn't have value for you.
Well, yeah, that goes to being mutually beneficial. So whether it's your car or...
It's hard not to look at your own life the same way.
Well, yeah.
And take stock now, talking about somebody who's worked for the same company, you know, talking about yours truly, worked for the same company for 25 years and now finds himself without a job and without a way to define himself other than right now. And that's why I'm saying this has kind of been an anchor for me, is that now I can find definition through this, through my ability to improve my person, improve my impeccability with others, improve my ability to communicate what's going on inside my head, because that gives value to me in my life. And even if it never goes further than those 15 or 20 people you're talking about,
yeah, I think it's actually like 12.
It's still benefiting me.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, because, you know, like I said, it's this last step in the process of thought, when you can actually formulate something enough to be able to put it into words and express it to somebody else. You know, if I could display an image for you, I wouldn't have to do all this talking. It would be just a quick snippet, you know. It'd be cool if we could do that, right? If we could communicate like that, but it would certainly save a lot of time. And maybe that's a fun little thought experiment when you're talking about imagining what life would be like without being attached to this body. Maybe that's just a fun little thought experiment to go on. I have no problem with doing that. I don't know. Not sure where to take it from there. Does that bring anything to mind for you? I mean, or is any of that?
I am very much hoping for, and I'm just, again, between you and I, we've already seen positive effects. So we were already aware that there's been good that has come from this for ourselves. And I would like to be able to have happiness from that, but again, there's multiple things that are going on that is causing a lack of happiness in my life. And yeah, this is the thing that gets me, is no matter what I've tried, no matter how many angles I've come at it from, being positive, being negative, meditating, affirming, asking, praying, I mean, you name it, I've pretty much done it. And the thing that I really want the most is just to spend more time with the people that I love. And not having that on a regular basis, not being able to socialize to it, because the last place I was at, you know, I had a restaurant with some good people with me, and I was able to socialize on a daily basis enough that it kept me in contact with humans.
And I could tell it. I mean, it gave you a real sense of value. It gave you a sense of...
Well, but not socializing. The fact that I felt that I was building towards something. So it wasn't even...
And then it was just... You know,
kind of, yeah.
Almost, it was pretty much overnight.
Oh, yeah. No, it was from the time it was discussed to the time that we did it. I mean,
So basically, you put all your time and effort into building this establishment up, only to what at the time that your lease was running out.
No, it wasn't. No, we
It wasn't even that, but the owner
No.
basically decided to pull the property back into his personal holdings and no longer.
He opted to sell it. The new owners wanted to rent to us. That in and of itself caused a massive overhead increase that we couldn't deal with quick enough. That we felt comfortable that we would have lasted for the next 6 months.
So you just had
without
to
losing out.
You had to cut your losses. And
It was unfortunate, but because of how it went and how quickly it was, us continuing to try it, we probably would have done more harm than good. Hindsight, COVID happened right thereafter. I mean,
so you would have been
within
screwed
weeks.
anyhow.
So not only would it been detrimental, but it would have been for all of us, employees, the customers, and the owners.
So there you go. I mean, if you want to say everything happens for a reason, that's... You couldn't possibly imagine that was going to happen.
None of us did.
Right. So in a way, you can kind of be thankful that may have actually mitigated some of the issue, like you said, of having to go belly up in the middle of a crisis
And
where you're paying for a building to stay open that you're technically not legally allowed to open.
Yeah, well. So
Not even going to go into that one.
my thing on
I ain't in a job.
My thing on that was, so I personally have had a lot of growth in the past year because of not doing, my business with my partners. So I was allotted this ability, as we all have, and I found a way to try to gain strength in myself and my relationships.
Well, the vlog, the taco vlog, and the...
Well, that was an attempt to support my partners that weren't my partners anymore, because the business had disbanded. But yeah, they're still my friends. They're still out there doing it, and it's like they needed help. I wanted to get out and do what I do, which is make good food. And
I thought that was really interesting though, because I saw a real sense of, regardless of how I felt about the videos themselves, and they were fun and hokey, and it was like you kept it light. Yeah. It was something entertaining. But really, more than that is what it kind of offered you. It seemed like you really felt like you were a part of something, and you were excited about it, and like there was a pride aspect to it. Like there was a real...
I was supporting my community, which those of you who really know me, I'm very much about supporting my community. I'm very much about loving my fellow man, woman, child, whoever you are, however you are, wherever you are. I'm very much like I want to educate, I want to entertain, I want to support. I want to be happy, and I want everyone else to have the same opportunity. I want equal opportunity for happiness for all of us.
Do you think making or allowing somebody else to have that moment would be beneficial to you? I mean, do you think that would add value to...
What do you mean by have that moment?
Like, or would that afford you happiness, seeing that you're able to give it to other people? I mean...
Well, right, and
if you could be able to turn that back on again and allow that to happen again.
To do the taco show again?
Whatever it is, whatever you're out... I mean, for me, it's this, is what I'm saying.
Currently, yeah, for me as well.
Okay, so... whatever it is, I mean, to get that back, I mean, would there be...
Well, and that's why my expression to you earlier this evening is, regards to the fact that I'm not happy and I'm really just kind of at peace with not being here anymore, because I've already put enough good in this world that I've left a positive mark. The simple fact is I'm hoping by putting this out and starting to have a sense of culmination to actually look at it and say, hey, this isn't just something we put together, but something that's actually put together and now out there. Now all of a sudden I can get self-worth from that, because it's not just something that's been, it's now something that actually is. It's not a thought experiment anymore. Now it's real.
Well, yeah, and like we say, I mean, the added value for me would be, and the unfortunate thing is, you may never know, but you would hope beyond all hope that maybe somebody would, if they're motivated and moved enough, that they would add it to the comments below, whatever.
Well, and so that's my
But we keep saying that if we could do that one person,
my
that life-changing
happiness.
event.
I'm not expecting my happiness to come from somebody taking joy out of what we're doing. I'm expecting my happiness from coming from the fact that I'm actually seeing my work. It's actually out there. It's not just hypothetical and sitting on a laptop somewhere. It's now out in the interweb for everyone to listen to. So just being able to say I put art into the world, I feel will bring me some happiness.
Yeah, it's interesting because everybody defines happiness differently.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
That's
I would love to be going. I would love
that's
to be
something more
waking
akin
up.
to value, I would think, or like.
I would love to wake up in a few hours. I'd be dog tired, but I'd love to wake up in a few hours to go golf. As silly as that sounds for who I am and where I come from, and my old neighborhood would not only laugh at me, but they'd probably whoop my ass again. They'd all like just get into a big circle and start pounding me and laughing the whole time. You fucking golfer, dude! And just, I don't give a. That makes me happy. Being out in nature makes me happy. Going out and doing things where I can have some sort of, not even so much control, but influence or validity in. To me, golfing is very cathartic in that ability because it's you and nature, and you can't lie to nature. It's one of my favorite things from the rapper Scarface. I was watching a little thing on him. He was getting some clubs fitted, and his expression as to why he enjoys golf is, I can lie to you, I can cheat you, I can steal from you, I can beat you up, I can do whatever I want. You can't lie to the golf course. You can't cheat the golf course. It is a humbling experience,
Sure.
and every chance I get to be humbled, I find peace and happiness
Sure,
in.
and I imagine there's plenty of people with the gridiron, the soccer field, the soccer pitch, or that's for you.
Yeah,
that's just your.
right. Yeah, that's the thing that connected for me,
Yeah.
which I never thought I would. I mean, I fought it for 30 some years. My father had been trying to get me into it since I was 9, and it wasn't until I'm 40 or 41 when I was like, all right, I'll call your bluff. Let's do this. And now I'm addicted.
Isn't that funny?
But and this is the thing is
Kicking yourself. Maybe you should have started earlier.
But that's, if we believe in the fact that everything happens for a reason, I can't be.
Yeah.
Because had that happened, then maybe I should have been
maybe you would have missed out on
professional
something
golfer
else.
at some point.
Right.
But maybe so. The thing is me having these experiences now is what allows me to have that understanding, so that I can express the things that I do now.
Well, like you said it earlier, maybe you're just not ready. Maybe you think you're ready, and what you're saying is you believe that you're ready, but the world's not, or that the timing's off.
Well, yeah.
But maybe let's maybe imagine that this is the world telling you that you're not quite ready yet.
Well, I am willing to accept that and to continue to work on who I am and what I'm doing. So that's what I'm saying. That's why this is where my frustration comes from. I am very intelligent, I'm very capable. I'm papered, right? I have learned education. I'm papered, but I also have street smarts. I also have the ability to rationalize, and I've been doing this for decades. So it's not lost on me that just because I feel this way doesn't mean that it is or isn't right. So I'm very accepting and grateful for those moments. I mean, that's what a lot of my journals are when I write these kind of things down, is accepting that and being grateful for it and understanding that, yeah, maybe that is it. But there's also that same thing of, if you ask the universe for $1 million, well, just because you ask for it doesn't mean you get it right now. You might have to wait for it. So you're ready for it. You're willing. You're prepared. You can accept it. Any second now we're good to go. But the universe is like, year and a half taken care of. I don't get a say in that.
Well, and what I'm saying is if you could imagine to a greater extent that the universe, being a macrocosm of you, knows you're not ready, right? And maybe doesn't make these things available to you until it knows that you are ready. And that's what I'm trying to come to terms with. In some of my writings, I actually say the same thing, is that maybe sometimes you have to look at failure as life trying to tell you that you're just not ready to have that experience. And when you are, and when you've learned and gathered all those things under your wing to have that full experience of it, and then you'll be ready, and then it'll happen. Then it'll manifest. But it won't, that whole thing about law of attraction being some kind of a magical experiment, it's not. No. There's nothing magical about it. It's very ordinary. It's not mundane. I would never call it mundane, but it's very ordinary.
Mass coincidence between your reinforcing hormone centers in your body in conjunction with your programming in society.
But what I said was and the impression that I get is a lot of that just has to do with coming to terms with what it is that you really, truly desire.
To spend more time with my family and friends, and to feel the love that I give them and have that come back, and we can all enjoy it together.
So one of those things you can control to some extent.
No. No, because in this current world, some of us have to distance ourselves to protect others. Some of us in our current states are so busy with our things and dealing with our own stuff that we physically can't be available for others because we're taking care of ourselves. So no, I and especially if everything happens for a reason, I have no control at all. I'm just supposed to sit back and enjoy the ride.
So now, if you don't mind me asking, are we talking about everybody in your life? Or, I mean, obviously everybody except me, because pretty much, you call me and I come over, probably.
What's your question?
Like, who is this? You're talking about people in your circle that you would like to spend more time with, but you can't because of basically COVID restrictions, or maybe fears of catching something by exposing themselves to you, or...
This is everybody in my life.
Everybody.
Yeah, dude. If I can see you 3 or 4 times a week like we used to, that'd be really dope. Because we for many years of our lives, we've been like less than 15 minutes apart. Whether it was a bike ride or a car ride or something, but
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, more than half of our relationship of knowing
Even
each
when
other.
we weren't hanging out with each other, we were still right around the corner.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No more than 12 minutes.
I very much see myself being happy, being able to have a place where all of the family and friends can come and we can enjoy each other. I very much would like to have that kind of home environment so that I never have to feel alone, so that none of us ever have to feel alone, so that there's always at least somebody who's there to give you that peace and that harmony and that happiness and just sharing that moment with you. Because, I mean, we are social creatures, so to just sit there and pretend that it's okay to be alone, it's not. We're not designed to be alone. We're designed to work in tribes. We're designed to be families and to love each other and support each other and build these circles of trust and safety. And I will be ecstatic if one day I could have that. That would bring me so much happiness and joy to live on a property with all of my family and friends being able to join at any point in time, to just be a part of, to come stay on. I don't really give a crap. But the simple fact that every day I could have an opportunity to spend with my family and friends and sharing the joy and happiness that we are as family and friends, I very much would like that. That would make me happy.
Yeah, this scamdemic has put it's put a lot of people's lives, or certain aspects of people's lives anyhow, on complete hold. And I don't know if it's just my perception.
I'm going to stop you there. So you're now agreeing to the fact that there is plenty of stuff out in this universe that will hold everybody no matter what, that you get no control or any choice over it. So the fact that you want to say on occasion that it could be the fact that I'm the one being the blockage, yeah, no. It can be the universe.
No, most things are out of your control, absolutely.
I feel like everything's out of my control other than, even they want to, your expression. You can control how you, sometimes you can.
Well, I mean...
We can attempt to as best as we can, but we're still animals. As a body, we're still this thing that is not... Because we do, as a light and love and energy, I believe that we are all impeccable to an extreme degree of just purity. When we muddle it up by putting ourselves in these bodies, that's where shit goes, off the rails.
Well, then you're looking at life through that matrix, like we were saying. You're looking at life through that...
As you call it, the ego.
Through the ego and through the damage of past experience. I mean, there's certain things I will never look at the same again because of experiences that I've gone through. And I may feel, even if I don't acknowledge it in my conscious mind, I hate to use that word subconscious, but even if it doesn't enter into my conscious mind, it affects how you make decisions.
Yeah.
It may regulate or deregulate the amount of fear you have at any given situation.
Right.
And completely unwarranted in some cases, where I've had that experience before where I had a sense of fear that was completely unwarranted.
That you feel, but there was probably like a deep-rooted program in there somewhere where a similar situation happened to you or somebody that you saw where there was danger involved.
There was a correlation that I picked up
your
on
body, your
subconsciously
body
that I had no idea, like, why did that just happen? I mean, I was saying to you earlier, there's even occasions where I'm trying to express myself with my own wife and I fly off the handle because I find that once I start tapping into that emotion, I can't really control it. It's like, it's like when you turn on the fire hose and
Mr. Wiggles.
That takes 4 people to hold, and you're just going to turn it off.
Yeah. Okay.
Who wants to drink from the fire hose?
Yeah. And so I think so. It's like I'm aware of what I want. I'm aware of what I need, and I'm aware of those things that will bring me that happiness. That doesn't mean that they're meant for me now or in this life anymore. But until time happens, I don't know. These are just how I feel.
What is in the way of that right now? I mean, is it just it's this? There's so many ways I'd love to word this. I mean, our society has been hijacked.
I want to say this with me specifically. There are so many things currently way out of my control that in order to have some sense of not being alone, I have to do quite a bit of work to go see people and make that happen. And I've obviously done that, so I'm willing to do it. I accept that as work, and I'm okay to do it. But if I'm always feeling like I'm the one doing the work, then that's not beneficial for anybody. That's enabling now. So while I'm aware of the things that will bring me happiness, doesn't mean I get to have them right now. Again, the universe could be very much just like, sorry brother, you're in a holding pattern because you have to wallow in misery for another year or two for the shit to make sense.
I mean, I keep wondering, and I don't know if you're talking about the social, economic, political atmosphere right now, the environment, because that's really what I'm disturbed by. Mainly because I don't see an immediate end to it. And that's what I'm getting from that is that if I allow myself to think about it, it feels like a crushing weight.
Yeah, I get that.
If I allow myself to try and imagine what the future for my children will look like, it's also a crushing weight.
Yeah.
Like to say, I wish there was something I could do.
Well, but
And it could just be, from my perspective right now, this is way overly morbid, and that things will correct themselves like they,
they should.
like they should, like the.
No, not like they should. They should.
Well, there's a pendulum swing.
Right.
There's.
Then you swing too far left, then you swing too far right, and you should hopefully kind of go back and forth and find a happy medium.
There's a part of me that wonders if not this is a necessary evil, because it has to get, like I was saying earlier, my father had to hit rock bottom to realize there was an up, basically, to realize that he could go up again. Well, I can't get any lower than this, so I guess I've got no other option. And it's weird because that's kind of a freeing thought.
Very much so.
Yeah, that
because I've been there myself, where I denounced.
I can't go down any further.
Yeah,
Yay!
Well, yeah, no, I denounced God. I'm cursing at the heavens. I want my money. I was in this place where I was attempting to be what society said I was supposed to be at this point. And it didn't resonate with me because that's not who I am. I am not do what everybody else does. I am not follow the mainstream. I am not that person.
Well,
and I never have been.
And it's I'm totally resonating with that, because you know me, and we've talked about this before, that the job that left me this year,
right?
It's not a sour situation by any means.
I should think not.
Because I had an opportunity, and anybody that really knows me knows that all the signs were there for me to jump from the position I was in, and I could have stayed with the company had I moved to another division or whatever. I made a conscious decision not to. And really, I'm hoping to Dickens that I can find a way out of this. But in a lot of ways, I'm still feeling a sense of relief that I got out. So I'm trying to hold on to that. But this certainly makes it really difficult to find a silver lining. Because I'm not seeing where the pushback is. I'm not seeing where, as a people, we've forgotten that this is the government we created, and that it was supposed to serve us, and it's no longer doing that. And this is what I'm saying is maybe this all has to get to this point, that enough people start to realize, and it reaches that tipping point where people are like, look, I've had enough. I'm not going to riot in the streets, but you're not getting any more of my money. If I have to pull out and figure something else out, or move to the mountains, whatever I'm going to do. But if societally, like, we reach a tipping point where people are just not willing to take everything at face value, that they're saying, well, this is all you can do. And it's like, no, that's not all I can do. And I'm tired of you telling me that I can't have my own business, that I can't provide a good or service for somebody that improves the world around me without feeling that I have to sell my soul to do it.
Yeah.
Can I offer something like what we're doing here, and find a way to make a living at it, find a way to improve people's lives in such a way that they would be willing to improve mine just a little bit. That I could be a part of this circle of life, and be...
That you get to be you and still take care of the
right.
societal demands that everyone else says we have to be a
and
part
still
of.
be a good husband because I'm emotionally stable now, because I have a sense of self. Still be a good father because I can go, hey, look, I left something because I realized after 25 years I was unhappy, and now look, I've struggled to reach this point, and now I found freedom in my ability to do what really truly makes me happy. So for me, in a lot of ways, like right now, that whole thing about trying to figure out what it is that means is what I'm going through. So to finish it off by talking about where you were just coming from with the thing about feeling alone all the time, one of the things that this has afforded,
well, not all the time, just a lot of the time, because I'm literally alone. So it's not that I feel alone, I'm literally alone,
right,
which in turn is going to make you feel alone.
right.
And I mean, that's another reason why I really try to do this as well, because then it gets me social interaction. It forces it to happen.
Well, you were telling me too that, and I kind of get that, where I listen to this when we're not doing it, because partly because I want to come correct. I want to stay true to my word.
Right.
You know, we bring something up, I want to look it up and make sure, hey,
Yeah,
I was
right.
coming correct. I was accurate with what I was saying.
Mycelium.
Or no, I totally had it wrong, and here's why. But
Right.
the process that we're going through creates something bigger than your phone or these microphones or you and I. There's a value that this brings that's intangible.
Well, I think it's very tangible, which is why I feel just by letting these things out and actually just keep moving forward with it, that in and of itself will start to bring me happiness, because it will give, like you were saying, you now have a sense of self-worth. You know, I now can feel like I'm being a better partner, because maybe it's not so much I'm bringing in money, but I'm bringing in, you know, some income and making the world a better place. So I'm not setting the bank account on fire, but we're not hurting because of something that we're doing.
Right.
So I very much would like to be able to be in that place. You know, that would bring me happiness, to just sit here and express and be a part of life, you know, my family and my friends in those moments, and put my expressions out there, put my art out there. That would make me happy. You know, I don't even care if I make money from it. That making money is not a thing that makes me happy.
No, and you can't concern yourself with that stuff anyway.
Yeah, spending time with family and friends makes me happy. Having a piece of property that I could not work on, but work, would make me happy. Spending the time with my family and friends, working a property, being available for any and all who are around me, so that if they needed 5 minutes of someone to just listen to them, I could have that opportunity.
There's a value
Over and over. Yeah, over. Money means nothing to me. The ability to put good out there and interact with those who I truly love and that love me, so that we can have more enjoyable and, you know, memorable moments together, that would also make me happy.
Yeah.
If I had those things on a somewhat consistent basis, yeah, I would be happy. And if I'm happy, then
So the real issue is that there's too many aspects of this are out of your control.
Yeah, and when I try to talk to people about it, they pretty much just go like, "Well, no, it's you. You're being negative, or you know, you're blocking yourself, or you're not waiting right, or it's like."
Well,
maybe I am, but maybe I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I have a difficult time with all this because, I mean,
because again, like I said, what if the universe is like, "Yeah, bro, I'm sorry to inform you, you got to suffer for another year or two, because that's where you're going to get your lesson from." All right, cool, but
how is this gonna? Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I have to be miserable?
Well, you don't, but yeah.
But in that situation, I do, because I have to suffer.
It's like the world's not giving you a choice to do what truly makes you happy, what
as well
allows
as
you to express yourself, and
as well as people around me are trying to tell me I did this to myself. So not so much in this world where I'm just like, I'm going to do this. No, I went outside of this world and said, hey, go ahead and plug me into the Matrix and make it like this for me. Thanks. I made that expression. I find that very difficult, because I could see myself saying, yeah, I want to challenge me, why would I beat myself up on a daily from the time I was a infant till now? Why would I want to keep beating myself up and not seeing the good coming from it? Why would I want to sit there and just keep being unhappy and getting beaten up by life? If it's for the greater good, okay, I can understand the point behind that, but why would I sign myself up for that? Why would I literally just be like, oh yeah, I'm a tough SOB, I'm going to handle that like nobody's business? So I'm either, because again, if we're light and love and energy and all that, I wouldn't be cocky, I wouldn't be sad, I would just be. So in that idea, then why would I opt into this world to do this to myself if I'm already existing and being and everything's just hunky-dory?
Well, even if I had the answer for you, it wouldn't make any sense right now.
Maybe not, I don't know.
I mean, and...
But again, that's why I'm like...
If you could experience life outside of this construct that you've created for yourself, because you did create it, just like I created mine...
I would say your current living situation in a sense. So in that idea, that construct, yeah. I'm talking on the grand scheme of I wanted to be in this meat suit with COVID and my life the way it was, getting my ass kicked, almost daily for years, and then having to lie to my parents about it, saying we were out in the streets playing football.
Oh, so this isn't even common knowledge within your family.
Well, I attempted to express things on a time, and it was basically told me, it's like, well, boys will be boys. Yeah, boys will be boys, but when they're singling you out and literally kicking you into the ground to the point that you have asphalt in your knees and your hands because you're not playing football because you're getting pushed around, that's not healthy. That's not good for anybody. So again, if I set myself up in this construct, why would I have picked this exact life in this exact fashion to sit here and not feel happy when I have amazing things going on, but nothing seems to be moving forward because everything around me is just like, nope, you gotta hold, just wait. It might be 2 days, might be 2 months, but they're like, no, just gotta wait. So here I am in this holding pattern, reading, educating, praying, affirming, meditating, being positive as much as I can, and
we're reaching a point though that's really it's really interesting because kind of like we started off the conversation talking about how black sheep, we feel like black sheep, that we look at the world maybe a little bit differently. We feel like we do anyway. This is all based in perception anyway. But
no, I've been told by other people that I don't look at the world like anybody else does.
Yeah, you're just weird.
Well, I get told many times for most of my life, I'm different.
You're different. You're an oddball.
You name it. I've been called it.
Not all bad.
And not even in English. Some another it's not a joke. I have been picked on most of my life. Even as an adult, when I started to, speak for myself, people still would, because we're very passive aggressive, just as humans in our lives right now. The way things are, not today. I mean, just across the broad spectrum of decades on decades, we're very passive aggressive. So most of us treat each other this way, and it's just okay because everybody else does it. It's not okay. I go out of my way to only speak positively of people. I mean, you and I occasionally might joke, and when we do, it's never personal. I don't rib at you to make you feel diminished or unappreciated.
Or even like I called you fugly without a beard.
And I agree, because I don't think that's why I kind of keep the beard, because one, I don't want to have to shave and deal with that, but two,
with each other,
kind of hides everything.
We're just having with each other, because that's what happens when you know somebody for 3 decades. I mean,
well, yeah, and I don't take offense to it because I find it funny and I dig into it myself, but
and we can do that. We can rib each other because,
and that goes to my point, is regardless of how much time we have with each other, that's healthy. That's almost like keeping somebody grounded, where you're, giving them not
don't get so full of yourself, narcissist.
Yeah, you're not giving them the what for. You're just reminding them gently, like, come on, buddy, let's maybe get off the high horse for a second, or at least just stop there for
There's other things to look at than your reflection. Just
so in our society, it's deemed pretty much okay to belittle one another because that's just good old-fashioned ribbing. It's not. It's not healthy. It's passive-aggressive behavior. So we're all projecting negativity at one another, and nobody's really communicating. And the few of us that are doing it or trying to do it, we get picked on and put down. And
yeah, it's like you're the minority. You're the...
Oh, I certainly am a part of the minority, which cracks me up because I'm supposed to be a middle-aged, middle-class, affluent white man. And I'm supposed to be the most racist and ignorant ever in the world. And here I am. I'm the one that gets basically discriminated against. I get put down for being me. And that's not even just being a white male American.
Well, no, I mean, but just, I mean, racially speaking, I mean, what you're talking about is basically racial hate crimes that happened to you when you were a child. I mean, because you told me this before, even when we first met each other, that
I equated it more to...
You would joke around that you learned how to run.
Well, yeah, I still joke about that, but that's true.
Because you were...
I was the shortest, fattest, but also the fastest
and the
kid
whitest.
in my... Because in California, man, dude, I had a tan, so I looked like a little northern Spanish boy with blue eyes, blonde hair, and dark skin. So I got it from all... But that was my thing is, growing up, I assumed they were picking on me because I was the white kid. I got picked on because I was different. It's not the fact that I was white. I was different.
Sure.
And that was something that it took me a long time to struggle with and come to terms with.
You're talking to somebody that used to meditate on the field in elementary school. So, believe me, I know all about being different.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I don't necessarily see it as being a bad thing because the friends that I've had have been so close that it overshadows. I never wanted to be popular. I never wanted the burden of that, and honestly, I've seen where it can get you, and it's really not all it's, and we're talking about high school, obviously. We're talking about, in general, like, the things you think about and the things you consider important at that age. Oh, God, if you could only see 5 years into the future, how ridiculous and asinine those things truly are. And it's not the first time it's happened to me. I mean, since high school, there have been other times where I come to a realization that the thoughts and beliefs that I held about something were completely fabricated. Right? And it's just weird.
From your perspective, sure. I mean, I don't know what you're speaking of exactly, but yeah.
Oh, I didn't know if you had a connection there when you...
Oh, I think all of us do, because we can all be aware of that as a possibility, because we probably all, at some point or another, felt like the outcast. I mean, that if there's anything, and that's why I'm like, this is the thing that kills me the most, is not only do I appreciate being shown that, being beaten, not only have I forgiven and accepted and grown from it, I have appreciated it. I've thanked the world for beating me. What kind of person does that shit, right? I'm attempting to move past. Nelson Mandela, right? Came out after being captive for ages, for just trying to be a person. And he came out accepting and forgiving of his captors. Having this as a frame of reference or example in my life, I too have attempted to do that. So being aware of these things, having this stuff happen, dude, I have appreciated and said thank you to the universe for some of the most fucked up things that have happened to me. So here I am attempting and doing and affirming and meditating and practicing toward. I'm doing things that most probably wouldn't even think of or even be willing to accept, because it's really difficult. Because you have to point the finger at yourself and accept that. I've been doing this, and yet I'm still in this place where I'm not happy because I feel just stuck. No matter how hard I work, no how little I work, no how many times I ask for favors, pray, affirm, I'm asking in every way I can for help, assistance on the spiritual level, in this personal level. And I'm still sitting in this holding pattern, just waiting. I think that's why, like, tonight when I called you earlier, I was like, dude, these have to go out now. I'm done. I need, even if it's just, again, to see what we're doing come to actual fruition, not just be a recording, on our phones that some of our friends listen to, but something that is physically tangible to the world now.
I agree, because I'm sorry.
Yeah, that I know will bring me happiness, because, again, self-worth. So it won't make me happy, but it will bring me happiness.
I think it's a damn good shot in the dark. Because
Wow,
I really, in a lot of ways, I feel the same way, that this, and I keep coming back to that, but like, you can't, unless you're here experiencing what we're seeing in each other's eyes, the emotions that we feel over, I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like I could take being robbed of all this right now, of society rolling over and being okay with giving up all these things one by one, if it was just me that was losing out on this. But it's when I look at my girls that's when it really hits home, that I can't, how do I look at them in the face and say, sorry honey, this is the world we left you with. Make the best of it.
I want to take this back to our conversation about educating our youngers, and the Killer Mike conversation with, I think, his like great uncle or something like that, where they want to express that it's the politics, it's the way the world is, it's the economy, it's all of these external components that causes anybody who's grown up in those less than favorable, these impoverished areas, where you want to call it the hood or the projects or what. I don't give two craps. Some of those are the nicest neighborhoods. They don't look it, but you will find the most loyalty and love ever. So all y'all out there being all hoity-toity, pointing your finger of pinky bullshit at these mothers that are just like, oh, I got news for you. Those are the real people, because they're not judging you. They're accepting who they are and the place they're in. All right? So, yeah, next time you go to point the finger of blame and want to look down on these people, I got news for you. They're probably a much better person than you will ever be. And I'm sorry that you had to hear that. And if it upsets you, look inside, because that's probably the problem. But so, the Killer Mike thing with his uncle, or his great uncle, or whatever. The idea of taking care of our community. So, you're saying, hey, this is the world we left you with. Yeah, Killer Mike's conversation with him is like, yeah, all these people leave the impoverished area. It's not because they don't find that loyalty or that love there. We didn't make this place a good enough home that they wanted to come back to it.
Right. So they were taking it on themselves. This is our fault.
Well, so
and how dare you blame those people that they're just trying to make a better life for themselves?
Yeah, why are you going to sit there and say it's this, that, and the other when you know damn well it's up to you?
Yeah. And I'm taking the blame, and that's basically what he was saying, is I'm taking the blame for my generation.
Yeah.
We effed up because we left you with a shit show, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I very much resonate with you on the idea of being a community member and a father for the same purposes, because I have a daughter and doing the same thing. So, yeah, the fact that I have to look her in the eyes and tell her, I don't currently have control over this situation. You just got to suck it up, buttercup, and go to work. Which is what America, for the most part, has pretty much told everybody that lives here. That's how it is. But it's not. Because you go outside of this country, that's not what it's like everywhere else. Not even close. Do they say, yeah, you got to have a job? Yeah, but they don't define it. They don't let themselves be defined by it. If you go over to any European country and ask them what they do for a living, they either get smug with you because you're like, you mean you're talking about money? Or they'll express what they literally do for a living, not their job. They'll be like, well, I'm a father or a mother, and we have a farm, and we have kids, and da-da. They're going to tell you what they do as a life, not money.
Well, and that is very much a Western.
But
that is very much a Western
thing. So that's
thing,
my
because
thing.
we define ourselves by, and I was saying that earlier, that in a way, the Western thought process is we define everything, including ourselves, by the value that it offers, by what
the financial value.
Well, not just that, but by what it does. So you can't just, the minute you're looking at something, you're judging it, because you're trying to put it in a column saying, well, its purpose is X, or it's XY, or it's, and you're placing it inside that box, which is one thing when you're doing that with each other, or when you're doing it with things. It's really, who cares? It's really not all that important. But the problem is we do it with everything, including God. So I think that's a big misstep.
Yeah, what is the Walter Russell thing? It's you can't leave the creator out of the creation. So you want to sit here and talk about science and not bring God in? It's like, you can't do that.
Well, which is what a lot of people like to do, or the typical attitude towards religion is more like, well, okay, well, I go through the motions. I go to church once a week, or whatever it is that you feel like. Okay, well, I've done my penance, and I don't know how to find heaven, but you just work on that for me.
Right.
And that's, I think too many people do that. They just say, well, God, you know what's best for me. You just work on that for me. Meanwhile, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to focus on making money. I'm going to focus on, gathering things about me, because that's what I think gives me value. And it's like, no, like, that means absolutely nothing. When that thing breaks, that thing that gives you value, that Mercedes or whatever it is that you believe gives you value, what happens when that's gone? Or that job that brought you $500K a year, what happens when that's gone? How do you define yourself? What are you now? Are you telling me you're nothing?
Well, that's why I very much identify myself as a community member and a father. And I'm trying to do my best to be both. So.
But anyhow, I think we covered a lot of stuff tonight, and I hope we can continue on with this, because, like I said, I'd like to discover at some point in the near future that this has made a real difference in somebody's lives other than just ours.
I would like to be able to see that come to fruition as well. Time will tell.
Yeah, like you were saying, if it's that guy or girl that hasn't spoke to their mother or father in 10 years, or has yet to forgive their child for a misstep or a misunderstanding, it's not worth it. And all that effort you put into holding on to that, it's just killing you faster.
And see, and this goes right back to, I've been willing, I've been accepting, I've been forgiving, I've been appreciating, I've been being grateful and saying thank you, and yet I'm just, and that's why I'm like, I've tried everything other than just being like, we're putting this out, and that's, I think tonight was just like that breaking point where I'm like, I've had it with not being happy. Because again, I'm not depressed, I'm not sad, I'm not just walking around just like, my life sucks, it's fucking horrible. But I'm also not walking around going, yes, I have self-worth, I feel great, I'm being a perfect dad, like I'm doing my stuff, like I'm being supportive and making money, and I'm doing all these things that society tells me to do. Which to me, being a good dad is just providing love, encouragement, and support. Right? Nowhere in there does that say I have to go out and make a job with this much money to provide a home of this nature.
No, I mean, obviously, how you define home it's a huge variable. And really, and it's hokey. I mean, you've heard that, but home is where the heart is. But
it's true. It's very true.
It's not in the size or quality of your abode, how many rooms it contains, how fancy the bathroom is, how big your fridge is. Like, none of that really matters. When you can walk into that and feel, like, just be enveloped, when you walk into a place and you just, like, you can't put a price tag on that. And it doesn't matter how many rooms it has. It could be one room with a kitchenette. It could be an efficiency. But you know what? As long as you have love in your heart. And you do. You do.
I,
You have it in spades, which is why this is so tough.
again, the Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Those of us who seem to be doing the most are probably suffering the most. So, yeah, like you just said, yeah. If you know anybody that you even feel remotely possible could be, just send them a text right now. Hey, how are you? I miss you. I love you. And everybody, end your conversations with the people around you with "I love you" sincerely. Say "I love you" every time. I don't care how upset you are, how distracted you are. That is never a reason to negate your expression of love to those who you supposedly care to that degree. Always say "I love you."
And don't let something stupid like, you know, being unable to forgive be something that I'm like, what I keep trying to come back around to is it's not just for the person that you forgive, because Lord knows that makes a huge difference to that person. But really, why do you have to carry that around with you?
Yep.
Because, you know, that other person might not nearly be as affected as you are. Like, by
may not be
carrying,
affected at all.
you don't know. Yeah.
Well, that's the four agreements of take nothing personal.
So
and make
in a
no
way,
assumptions.
you're not really. It's not all about, and this is where it comes back to, like, you don't always have to expect anything in return, because it's just in the act of doing that should be a release for you.
Yeah.
Because it's now, I don't have to carry that with me any longer. I don't have to hold on to that, because it's not a part of me. I don't want to hold grudges.
Right. Who do I?
So just remember that, people. Like,
I just want to be light and love.
if you could imagine the end of every conversation with the ones that you care about, are those the last words you want to have ringing in their ears if you're never able to see each other again? So,
Yeah.
I hope you all have a great night, and well, I hope we touched you somewhere.
That's just gross.
So, you nasty.
All facetious jokes aside,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to you, and thank you to all of you listening. That is a great appreciation, gratitude. I love you all more than any of you will probably ever know. I appreciate, respect, and have gratitude for all of you more than you will probably ever know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what tomorrow brings.
I like the sound of that.
Well, again, in that construct, I may not get a choice. So even if I try, if I'm supposed to wake up, I'm going to. There's plenty of people that can attest to that.
Yeah.
So this has never been, I want this to be the outcome. It's, I am so tired and unhappy that I'm at peace.
Yeah,
with
that's
that
not what I
outcome.
hear. I hear you're looking.
Yeah, no shit.
You're looking for an answer. You're looking for an out. You're looking for.
I'm looking to be happy. And
You'll find it.
what? And yeah, and maybe
You'll
that.
find it again. I just, you know, I keep coming back to that, and happiness is not, or true joy is not reliant on any things, but I think with everything going on the way it is right now, it makes it really difficult to see. It makes it really difficult to see. It certainly adds to that matrix of confusion and fear that we already have to deal with, that we've programmed within ourselves. It adds another layer onto that. And it's completely arbitrary, and it's completely illusory, and it means absolutely nothing. Let it go.
Working on it, bro.
Well, and I'm just speaking to the world at large, but
Yeah.
maybe even a little bit to myself. I just,
Probably a little bit of both.
it's not worth holding on to.
Yeah.
And is your happiness contingent on those things? No.
Yeah,
I mean, and I try to remind myself that.
Because I mean, my happiness, I'm fully aware, is contingent upon me feeling as if I have self-worth because I'm putting something out that I feel proud to say is my work, as well as trying to find those moments in between that to spend it with my family and friends so that we can make amazing memories.
That's what it's all about.
It is for me. So, yeah, I mean, if I could turn this into a job, if I didn't actually have to work.
People have. I'm just saying.
But that's my thing. That would be happy because then I could provide that outcome that I'm looking for, and I don't give two shits whether or not I gotta wear a mask because I can do it whenever, wherever, and in the seclusion of whatever confines we wish. So I don't have to be in that component of society anymore, and I now have control over my life. So I very much would like that for me and the future of our children, because like you said, I mean, as a father, this is not the world I want to leave for my kids or my kids' kids.
No, it's having kids raises this to a level of fear it wouldn't reach if it was just me.
Yeah, because you can take care of yourself, but to have your youngers be taken care of when you're not here anymore in a world that they don't like or is not conducive to being energy of love and light.
Well, let's be honest. In a world that maybe looks on them, like you were saying, as if like they owe the world something that they don't. Like, you know what I'm saying? The whole idea of this privileged class, the powers that be are doing everything that they can to remove that from us. There will be no privileged class. Well, I'm just saying, we spend so much time...
You make blanketed statements that make it sound like everybody's out to get us, and that's not true. There are...
True.
There is a larger majority of individuals that are screwing over the little guys. Yes. It's not everybody.
No, it's not.
So I would prefer if you would make a more impeccable statement instead of a blanket statement, which sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I have a tendency to do that. But anyhow, totally lost my train of thought with that one, but it's all right because I think that needed to be said too. So, for me to be put back in my place, because you're right. There's always two sides to every coin, and that's one thing I'm always trying to remind you of. So thank you.
Well, I'm always reminding myself of that and trying to grow from it and find ways to move through my life and have more peace with it. And currently, I'm just feeling very much, the world's just telling me to be patient, and I'm just tired of waiting. I'm tired of not feeling happy when I'm out. Like you said, I'm filled with all this love. It's like, well, then if I'm out there making this world a better place and putting all this love in there, then it's like, how come I'm not happy? And I'm aware because I've already expressed the things that I'm lacking that I would appreciate even greater that would bring me that happiness internally. And I've been working towards trying to make that happen, but I don't get control over others and their time and their actions and what they want to do with their lives. So I can only hope that I'm I can only hope that I'm that good enough person that being in that relationship they want to be around me. Like the great uncle. I hope to build a community well enough that they want to come back home.
Or that they never want to leave. Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm working on that and I don't feel like it's being fruition or what that can be very frustrating, especially not feeling like you have control in this current world. There's plenty of us out there that are dealing with things on a much larger scale than we're willing to admit to or ask for help for. And I think that's why I really want these out there. One, it's great for my self-worth, but to be this example for everyone else to see, just open up, just talk, just have a conversation.
And if just one life is saved, if just one relationship is patched back together, or one father, son, mother, daughter relationship,
whatever it is,
somebody has a realization that it's just not worth the arguing, it's just not worth being right, it's time to just apologize and seek forgiveness and see how we can move forward from there. Because it's not what makes us different that matters. It's what makes us the same.
I like that. Yeah, it's a great place to end on.
All right, people.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Later, everybody.